Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. And did you know that somewhere in the world someone is diagnosed with dementia once every 3 seconds? Well, this morning we invite you to join us in raising awareness and sharing information about Alzheimer's and dementia. This morning we begin the conversation about World Alzheimer's Month, which is all September long. And I want to welcome the president of the Alzheimer's Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Michelle Saunders-Clavery, as well as the PR officer at the same, Yemi Ogunbanke. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning.
How are we doing this morning?
Very good, very good. All things being, once I can put my feet on the ground, every morning I'm good.
All right, give thanks for that. Tell me, what is World Alzheimer's Month, President?
Okay, World Alzheimer's Month was designed, it came into being from ADI, International Alzheimer's Disease International. They are our parent body out of London, England. And they decided we needed an entire month to celebrate those persons who live with Alzheimer's and their caregivers. Now, there's World Alzheimer's Day, which was instituted September 21st, when ADI had their 10th anniversary conference. And they decided, well, you know, rather than just celebrate one day, let's do an entire month. So here we are, and this is what we do every year. Heighten awareness, raise awareness, and really encourage folks to get on board. Think of the seriousness of the disease, but serious not in a way to get you fearful, but serious so that you really pay attention. That what we used to say previously, our elderly folk would say, take in front.
Of course.
So to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So the more you know, the better you are able to deal with the disease.
Yeah, I mean, how do we usually celebrate and observe Alzheimer's Month? And what sorts of information should we be gathering?
I've been with the association for 2 years now. So last year we launched with a fundraising lunch. And this year we've mixed things up a little bit. So we launched with an open house where we invited people to come learn about different aspects of Alzheimer's and dementia, as well as have a little lime with us. We are also having a radio play that won an award from the BBC. It was written by a journalist, Julian Neves. So we would be happy to share that with the public so they learn in a different format about some of the stages of Alzheimer's and some of the responses and what to do. Some of the information that we really like to share with people would be tips on, one, caring for someone who's living with Alzheimer's or one of the dementias. And just to clarify, dementia is an umbrella term.
And I was going to get into that next to find all the different types to break it down. Go ahead, you're breaking it down. Break it down for me.
Yeah, so Alzheimer's is one type of dementia.
Right.
It's the most common diagnosed based on the information I've received. But there are other diagnoses like Lewy body. There's vascular dementia that is also common in the diagnosis. Parkinson's disease is a type of dementia
as well.
Yes, from my understanding of it, all of them have a similarity in terms of the memory loss aspect, but each one presents a little differently.
Tell me about Alzheimer's and how that presents.
Oh, if I were only a doctor.
And I always like to say, well, you know, disclaimer, I'm not a medical person, but we both can speak from our experience.
Yeah.
My father lived with the disease for a number of years before he died, and what we noticed, some peculiar behaviors. One day, when he went to do his medical checkup, I saw a list in the doctor's office of a number of things that people who live with Alzheimer's, they present. And I said, but that looks like that. So, for example, he would take the bag of groceries, a complete bag of groceries, put it in the garbage, put a tin of paint, small tin of paint in the refrigerator. But with Dad, it was very insidious. He started forgetting. My father was a talker, and he would ask you the same question many times. So at first we thought, God, boy, Dad is just a little more. And then he would come to me and he said, Michelle, don't mind me asking you another time, a second. But what day is it today? And then we started to
realize
see
something
yeah,
was...
exactly.
Yeah.
And he couldn't use the calendar in the way. So we said, okay, Dad, here's the calendar. You want to mark off the days. And he started doing it beautifully until one day he got up and we looked at the calendar. The entire month was X'd out. And so, I like that you smile, because people think that this Alzheimer's thing is just, it's a pain, it's horrible. And it is, because each person who lives with the disease presents differently.
Yeah.
But I like that you smile in the sense that we treated, outside of knowing anything at all about Alzheimer's, we treated with Dad in a humorous manner. So we would look at those things and smile and say, Dad, you know what, what's that on me? We treated with him as we would treat with somebody who's just forgetting.
Right.
And so I don't think we ever really got angry with Dad. My mother, she really couldn't cope with seeing her husband, the man of the house who did everything. She couldn't cope with that. So at times she would get a little upset.
Yeah.
I got upset in the end when Mom passed away, because she passed before Dad. And I remember that first Christmas, I kind of just blamed Dad. We went to midnight mass at Christmas, and we came back home, and he in the bed, and he had, urinated in the room just like that. And oh my God, I got really upset. But that was out of frustration and so on. But everybody has a different experience.
Yeah.
And so this is why we use the month in particular to raise awareness, to show people you are not alone in this. This is what you can expect. This is how you treat with it. This is how you speak with the person. Because there's a way of speaking with the person who lives with the disease,
I mean, I know that there is a level of patience that must be acquired as well as you go along the way. But tell me, Yemi, from where you sit, how do you see Trinidad and Tobago treating with Alzheimer's?
We are in transition at the moment, because the numbers are increasing. People are speaking about it more and more. There is a stigma that the Alzheimer's Association is working to start shifting. People in the past would not have necessarily wanted to say or to admit. However, because more people are seeing the relatives of friends living with dementia, people are talking more about it, and with the support groups that are now in existence, people can get information and support, safe spaces where you can go and let off steam if you're in a frustrating situation. We have situations now where families are no longer multi-generational in one home, so it puts pressure on an individual. I had a phone call once. A young lady called me. She has to work, but she also has to look after her mom. What is she to do? So we are transitioning, and Michelle can speak about what is happening at a national level, because there is a program being developed. Yeah.
Well, we are so very happy about this and what has occurred through ADI and PAHO WHO, because PAHO and WHO, they have declared Alzheimer's disease a national priority. Okay, and so the ADI impressed upon governments, their member countries impressed upon governments, listen, you need to have a national dementia plan. So Trinidad and Tobago has started that with stakeholders. Of course, we are part of that a group of folks who are really working on crafting the dementia plan. So I thank the Ministry of Health for that, for getting on board. And we have stalled a little bit. Little things have come in, in between, but we hope to get that plan hopefully completed by year end, if not early in the new year.
Yeah.
And that plan is designed to help caregivers and those who live with the disease, because caregivers have a really, and as I'm saying this, we no longer say that people are suffering with, we say they are living with. And it's the caregivers who might suffer. And so we would like very much to have a place where folks, caregivers, can bring their loved ones or whomever it is they're caring for, leave them during the day, like a daycare.
But then you have other caregivers caring during the daycare.
all of that.
All right, so as we continue to commemorate and celebrate World Alzheimer's Month, I know that you had the launch that you mentioned. You mentioned the award-winning radio play that we have coming up. I also understand that you had a movie day recently.
Yes.
Yeah, and tell me some of the other things that we have coming up, because I see you have some things in San Fernando and even Tobago.
Yeah. Well, we like to spread it out that way.
Naturally.
I want to go back to our launch, and let's say it, because I like to hear it here, launch, learn, and learn.
Right.
So Yemi, you'll speak about the
All right. Yeah. So the launch, learn, and learn. The concept was we are launching the month. We are learning. So we had Dr. Cheryl Williams come in and speak with us about aging, the gerontology aspect, what dementias and Alzheimer's presents as. We also had Anurada Dean. She's a lawyer. She came and spoke with us about the legal aspects that one should be aware of when dealing with someone living with Alzheimer's. And then after that, we had a lime.
Right.
So we all sat around Hayes Court and had some corn soup, some chow.
And some nice conversation, I'm sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the other activities.
So I understand that on the 20th, we have a health and wellness fair that's happening in Scarborough, Tobago.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. We have about a minute left, so I just want to get in some of the things that people can be a part of before we go.
Okay, so San Fernando, I'll get to San Fernando because that's happening on the 21st.
Right.
They are having a series of discussions, and then across in Tobago, you will have a health fair that's going to be a day-long activity, so people can come and learn about, get information on Alzheimer's and dementias.
Nice. And if people want to get more information, how can they contact you?
We have the phone. I don't know if Michelle knows the number offhand.
Yes.
But email as well, alstrinbago@gmail.com.
Yes.
That's ALS?
ALZ.
ALZ Trinbago.
Trinbago@gmail.com.
And
Yes.
it's
Phone number,
345-6549.
All right, fantastic. Well, ladies and me, thank you so much for the work that you're doing to bring the awareness of Alzheimer's to the nation. And thank you so much for it. And thank you for waking up early and joining us on the Now Morning Show as well.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we take a quick break and we come back with more inside the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned.